Welcome back to Empire of Enthusiasts. It's good to see you here because we are here at Comic-Con, the world's largest comic book convention.
It's more than a comic book convention. It's a popular culture convention. It's a celebration of pop culture.
And it has just finished after 4 days of panels, announcements, big movie events.
I reckon that the best way to describe the floor, the exhibition hall, is badges and boobs. 4 days of badges and boobs.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we want to talk about here is there were panels. There were panels about comic books, how to write comic books, how to make movies. There were panels on TV shows. What other subjects do they cover?
Well, I was challenged by a friend of the show, Lawrence Lung, to find the most obscure panel that you could go to at Comic-Con. And there were some pretty obscure panels, but the one I thought was most impressive was the Italian comic book collectors social function. There was a panel that was on Thursday afternoon specifically for Italian comic book collectors to meet American comic book collectors and socialize and eat pasta together. I don't know. I don't know of any Italian superheroes off the top of my head.
Can you imagine the amount of Mario Brothers costumes that were in that panel?
But only on the American side. I'm sure the Italians were like, nah, not for me. Italian-American plumbers are not for me.
Yeah, it's racist if the Americans do it.
Frankly, yes.
Yeah. So to help us here to talk us about some panels and some of the big announcements, we have a new guest. His first time here on Empire. We have Christian Caddaye. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So how many times have you been to Comic-Con now?
This is four.
Right.
Four very long and enjoyable trips.
Before we get to what the announcements are, and there's some huge ones, let's talk panels. Christian, we'll start with you. Run us through some of your favourite panels.
Look, I enjoyed I went to a very nerdy panel. You talking about your nerdy panel. I went to the new Magic the Gathering panel, and they released they told us what the new cards were going to be. It's all based on the mythic Parthenon. It's all Greek, so it's gods and it's monsters and it's heroes and minotaurs, and but they've been doing it in a whole new way. I could go into quite a bit of detail, but I'll try and keep it light as possible.
Well, do you know what's funny is because I know nothing about Magic the Gathering, and that's what I really like about Empire of Enthusiasts, is that it's about a whole bunch of stuff. So feel free to go into as much detail as you like, and all of us who have no idea what you're talking about will go and do something else.
No, look, the one thing they are doing that's very different is they're trying to create, instead of just a normal card game, it's now you start with like a single hero and you grow over different experiences, and they're even introducing a new type of deck that you play with your friends against another friend, and he's got the Hydra deck, so you play with all different sort of heroes against this Hydra sort of deck, and it's all much more inclusive sort of thing. It looks, they've taken a departure, it looks great. I'm very excited. More money spent on Magic cards.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about it's kind of easy to get cynical at Comic-Con because whenever someone goes big announcements, no, you just want to sell more cards.
Yeah. Oh, well, Felicia Day turned up at the very end. They've got her in because she just was a surprise guest. She popped in. She does a web series where they play things, and they've started playing Magic now online. She says she loves it. She said the games that she's been playing, she gets lots of free stuff, she said. Yeah. But this is the only game that she and her friends have been playing continuously, and they love it at the moment.
That's great.
Felicia Day likes it.
Yeah.
And if Felicia Day likes it, then about 100,000 nerds will get on board. Nick, favourite panel, or, give us insight into what you saw?
Well, I saw some really great panels, and some really diverse panels this year as well. I mentioned in the last segment the Superman panel, which was really interesting.
Which I'm really annoyed I didn't see.
Oh, it's all right. You were seeing some pretty good stuff at the time.
I saw some pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah. There was that panel. There was a Cartoon Network panel that we saw announcing 3 new shows, all of which look really cute and funny. That sort of thing's always interesting when you get to see something first. Especially things like Cartoon Network shows that in Australia will be more than a bit difficult to see, if you don't have cable and that sort of thing. So getting a taste of that was really interesting. Went to the Machinima panel, the the fan films panel essentially, and they're really inspiring to hear about the people who just taken their fandom and decided to add to it, essentially add to the mythology of the things that they're fans of. That's really cool.
Yeah, and especially something like that because a lot of their viewership is obviously on the internet, but most of the people who watch that sort of stuff are here at the con, and so those panels tend to be pretty big.
Yeah, they tend to be slightly rock star panels because, of course, a lot of these people who aren't working on the internet work not exactly in a vacuum because there's a lot of feedback, but then they get to be in a room with people who applaud them, and that makes a real big difference to them, I think, because they get to be treated like rock stars for an hour or so, and get that immediate sort of reaction to their work because they premiered a new film from the people who brought you. Was it Punisher, Dirty Laundry? There was a new film by those guys, and and so we got to watch that, and we all applauded at the end, and everyone who was in it was there, and they're like, yeah.
But and we'll put up a few links to the Punisher, so you can probably watch it right now if you like. What I really like is when you go to these obscure panels and they say someone's name, and everyone just cheers them like a rock star, and you're like, I don't know who that guy is.
No idea what's going on right now. I'm just happy to be here. Yeah, I'll clap along.
I had that in the Cartoon Network panel where one of the creators of one of the new shows is a mini celebrity to a very particular section of the community, and so they were like, yeah, and I was like, I've never heard of you, but by the end I really liked it. So she won me over.
Great. I will transition into the big announcements by telling you what my favourite panel was. I camped out all night to get into Hall H on Saturday. It's a 6,500 seat auditorium and on Saturday all the big movies, all the kind of tentpole blockbuster movies do their announcements. Marvel, 20th Century Fox, Legendary, and others I can't remember. But let's talk announcements because there was a few big ones. And who wants to go first? Nick, we'll talk to you because first up in the day they had Zack Snyder come out and talk about
Well, the big announcement is, of course, that the next DC Comics superhero movie, following on from Man of Steel, is going to be a Superman/Batman film, where they're going to Henry Cavill's Superman, the next installment of his journey, will also involve Batman, a new Batman, not any Batman connected to the previous trilogy by Christopher Nolan.
And what happened was the guy who came out, I can't remember his name now, but I'll put a photo of him up, who was the really gravelly voiced guy from Man of Steel, came out and read a part of World's Finest. It was the Dark Knight Returns graphic novel. So apparently they're using that
as an inspiration. And I think the actor you mean is Harry Lennox.
Ah, right, yes.
Yeah.
See, that's actually the biggest surprise for me. Out of all the announcements, I thought Superman, Batman, like sort of a versus / team up, and without an introductory movie to Batman, that's a big step. That's a bold step. So I thought maybe they'd do a quick Batman movie, not an origin, but just drop you into a new Batman universe. But to just go, no, he's just going to be thrown in the deep end. That's going to be huge.
Yeah, it is going to be huge, but I just figure how many times can we see the origin of these characters? Like, they want to show us the origin all the time. It's like, we get it, Batman's sad. His parents died. We saw it in every movie you made. And they always do flashbacks to it. It's like, we know.
Yeah, no, I would have been happy if the next Batman was just, forget that, Batman in his career, already go, don't, no apologies, go.
Yeah.
But instead we're just going to have, Batwings fighting Superman, and how big is it going to be? I'm really excited to know, are they going to go Batman being clever fighting, or is it going to be big, mechs fighting? Very excited.
I'm looking forward to Superman killing Batman at the end of the movie.
Don't start with that.
All right. The second big announcement we had was Joss Whedon came out at the end of the Marvel panel after they'd shown Guardians of the Galaxy clips. The whole cast was there. What else? Captain America, they showed clips from everything. But basically, at the end, Joss Whedon came out and very simply said, I don't want to tell you anything, I want to show you something. And he showed a clip, and it was the new Avengers title.
Oh, well, it's Avengers 2, and it's Age of Ultron. And once again, there's been no Hank Pym put into the universe yet, so I'm really interested in how they're going to make Ultron a fresh character that pops in, and it's exciting. Oh, is that a giveaway by telling?
What?
No,
what is
I think
what?
About Ultron?
Well, actually, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, you're a Marvel nerd. Who is Ultron? You've just said that Hank Pym, who is Ant-Man, invents him because he's a robot.
Yeah, he's a cybernetic intelligence, and he's built initially just to be like a helper droid, but he obviously gets more and more intelligent to the point where he becomes totally self-aware, and he just decides, well, no, I'm going to run everything, and he just goes balls to the wall. They've done him in the cartoons where he's been a fleet of robots. He's downloaded into everything. He's stolen Iron Man's suits in one of them and attacked them with all of Iron Man's suits. I'm really excited. He gets to the point where they can't beat him, because even when they shut him down, if they don't he just uploads somewhere else and he comes back harder again. So I'm like, well, are they going to like try and use him against Thanos? Is that the reason they're going to build him? It's a very exciting prospect, and he's a good villain to fight because you can beat the shit out of him. You can rip his arms off. He's a robot. So if they want to rip his guts out, do it. That's fine.
It's always funny with these movies because they're all PG-13, and with the violence, you can't actually show a sword cutting off someone's head. But like you say, there is going to be
some robot violence. No, some god versus robots. So.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is it's just going to be big CGI things smashing into each other. Like the end of Iron Man 1. It's like, here's some pixels not doing a damn thing.
Yeah.
No, I can see how that could be a worry, but with Ultron, because he's so clever, he could have death traps. It might not just be a fight. He could be firing the Hulk into space, and Thor's got to chase him with his hammer, and then they're fighting on the ground, and like Captain America can take on the lower foot soldiers, and you got Hank Pym maybe if they introduce him, and Iron Man trying to figure out how to hack him, and that could be.
Josh, are you listening to this? Because it sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty good.
You've written this movie in your head already, and it was announced 2 days ago.
I remember having a conversation with you at a party drunk once, and we were talking, this is well before Captain America came out, and you were saying how easy it would be to do Captain America, just do him in the 1940s, have him fighting Nazis, and I remember watching the film just going, they stole your idea. They fucking stole your idea.
They didn't go far enough. There should have been a little bit more blood and a little bit more Nazis, that's all.
More Nazis. Yeah, most things need more Nazis, yeah.
Yeah. Look, you can't ruin anything by adding more Nazis.
The Nazis are another one of those things that you can kill as many as you like and no one cares.
No one cares. You can shoot a Nazi.
I can think of one thing you could ruin by adding more Nazis. That's Europe.
I wasn't sure what you were going to say then.
That's true. All right. On that sensitive topic, we're going to finish here. Thank you very much for watching Empire Enthusiasts. Christian, thank you very much for being our guest for today. And we'll see you next episode. Cheers, guys.